I was a heroin addict in the Lower East Side of Manhattan in the 1990s as a teen. I got clean at 21 years old after years of abuse. I got married at 26 to my amazing and beautiful wife. She knows I was an addict. I spent all these years not even really thinking that much about the concept of relapsing. It had been so long. I still thought about it, but with marriage and my kids and everything, the thought of it was just so ridiculously out of sight to even consider trying it again. 3 weeks ago, it was my friend's birthday. He's 4 years younger than me, so of course he wants to go to some cool, hip, sketchy bar/club thing in Bushwick. I got drunk. Really drunk. I hadn't really drank much at all in the past few years, so my tolerance was way lower than expected. There was a dealer outside, and a few other junkies nearby. I don't even fully remember what happened. I just remember going with them, abandoning my friend at the bar, it was like 1 AM anyways, and going to some apartment and shooting up. I spent the night there, then all the way until noon the next day. I had 10 missed calls. I panicked when I came out of my daze. I told my wife I'd gotten way too drunk, and was puking and my phone was out of battery, so I stayed at Charlie's house. She was disappointed I didn't tell her, but also thought it was funny because she used to tease me for not being able to handle my liquor. This was an I told you so moment. She had told me not to drink too much before I went to the bar. She wasn't even in New York. She was at a summer house with the kids in Massachusetts. I spent the next 4 days until they got back just riddled with anxiety, urges to get more heroin, horrific mind zaps, I don't even know what to call them. It was, in some ways, worse than my withdrawal symptoms when I first was an addict. Not because of the physical feeling, but the horrible mental feeling of what I was possibly giving up, my wife and kids. I wanted to fucking get more so badly. I left my house to find heroin 4 fucking times. 4 times. I gave up to get more, but wasn't able to find any, and snapped back to reality and went back home. I still thank fucking God I did not somehow run into some street dealer during those 4 times. I would have absolutely done it. I feel like everything I thought about myself, that I was strong, that my addiction was behind me, that I'd beat heroin, it was all gone. I'm not going to say I was back at square one or anything. I'm not. But I feel like something inside of me had reset. My unwavering strength against addiction was broken at the slightest temptation. I still am weak. Heroin is so much stronger than me. It's truly unbelievable how much stronger it is than me. When I was young, my aunt had cancer. She beat it. Then it came back soon after, and she beat it again. It didn't come back, and we loved how strong she was for fighting her cancer, and that she had overcome it. She lived with us. I remember her feeling of strength after her 2nd year of not having cancer, her 3rd year, her 6th year. It finally felt like it was gone for good. Her thinking, it's finally behind me now, it's a part of my past, and then it just fucking came back. 9 years after her first diagnosis, it came back and killed her. I remember her feelings and how she felt about it, so many years after she thought it had gone away. That's how I feel. Like a cancer which I'd got rid of a decade ago just showed back up on my screening. The first 5 to 6 days after I tried it, that time outside the bar, were the worst. My kids and wife have come back. The urges mostly went away the second I saw my kids. I hugged them so damn hard. And I never told my family what happened, nor will I ever. My wife never understood that side of me. She met me 5 whole years after I was clean. I just cannot have her know, ever. I won't do it again. I'm planning on not drinking to excess like that again, except maybe in very specific situations, like at the summer house where there is no option of drugs. I mean, not like I want to get drunk again like that, but just in case I ever want to get loose. I'm never doing it like that in the city again. I'm still about 90+% sure that I won't ever touch heroin again. I'm still positive in myself about it. It's just, it used to be 99% sure. That's what fucking terrifies me. I said heroin is stronger than me. It is absolutely stronger than me. But the reason I won't ever do it again is that it isn't stronger than my family, my wife and kids. I don't care about how good it feels. I will not subject my wife and children to me being an addict. I would rather just kill myself than that. This is petty. I don't care. I've worked at a company for 2 years. In that time, I've gone from an incredible asset to the company to babysitter. I wish I was joking. This company is owned by several people, but managed by a relative to the higher-ups. A guy who has never worked for anyone except his mummy, who owns the company. A guy who is incapable of doing basically anything for himself. Someone who will one day take over the company, who currently can't even figure out Bluetooth. Moron would be a compliment. You think I'm just being harsh on my boss or exaggerating? I wish it was just me being dramatic. Last phone call I had from him was him asking where he was. No, I'm serious. Foot, I'm driving. Where am I? He asks me to track his phone, find his location, see if I can find a store near him that sells a certain item, that he can't remember the name of the store either, or where it is exactly, and then I am to GPS voice navigate him there, using tracking his phone to tell him when to turn. This is my life. 50 plus phone calls a day from this man. Foot, did you get my email? Yes, I responded to it and answered your questions. Oh good, read it out to me. Proceed to read the email to him. He is happy. Fast forward 2 hours. Get a scathing email from him responding to my reply. Foot, why did you email me again when we just talked about this on the phone? This wastes my time. I no longer do my regular job. I've been transitioned into this personal assistant role, even though I didn't want it. At all. To the point where I'm currently searching for a new job. The company is bleeding money like someone cut off both its legs. The boss is supposed to be figuring out why, but the guy can't even pour himself a cup of coffee from the machine we've had for 6 years. In my day-to-day, I also assist other departments. I have access to various software. I work alongside multiple managers and assist with their projects as well, when I'm not being asked to identify the brand of socks the boss is wearing so that he can figure out where to buy more and have me call to have them set aside a package for me so I don't have to walk there through the store looking for these like an idiot. Based on my observations, I found several problems that are costing us money, either by purchasing, distribution, or just general lack of adequate price adjustments. Some were serious enough that I even spoke to a different department manager who was impressed and took me to the CEO to ask if I can be moved to their department to help fix some of the identified problems. CEO is boss's mother. I get told that I absolutely am not allowed to transfer, that I am far too valuable as a personal assistant to be shared with other departments, that boss will handle and oversee the changes that need to be made. Manager and I were stunned. Turns out, Mother wants to step away from the company, and wants boss to run it. That boss just needs more projects to work on to get a better understanding of how to run the company. Boss gets called in, told that I identified several issues, and that boss needs to get them resolved. Boss gets mad at Mother, telling her he doesn't have time to do that. Mother says she understands, that he is a very busy boy. Again, I'm not joking. Sitcoms can't even write this kind of shit. Boss calls me later into his office and tells me that I am to work on fixing all of these issues, but that I am to give him all my notes, tell him how I fixed it, and he will present it to the board. Boss then proceeds to leave for the day, calling me later to ask what kind of mustard was the mustard he liked the most on his deli sandwiches. Then proceeded to lecture me on mustard, because the answers I gave him were obviously not the right kind of mustard, and that I needed to pay more attention to things like that. I hung up the phone, picked up all my notes on this bleeding money situation/project, and shredded them. Oops, sorry. I'm too much of an idiot to handle doing any type of investigation work into our financial records for the past 5 years. I'm certainly too much of an idiot to notice that your profit margins went from 32% to less than 18.3% on the majority of our products we manufacture, all the while giving our distributors more than 46% discounts so that they can keep coming back for more. Here is hoping boss can figure that out, especially considering the layoffs we keep having. Excuse me while I make a note on what kind of mustard he prefers on his Montreal smoked meat sandwich, which is a much more important use of my time. Because, in the words of boss, maybe one day you'll be capable like me if you keep working at it. I hope I get fired.